for joining me today with Stamping with Loretta. Today I'm bringing you a recipe card. I used this recipe book that I bought from a thrift store, and I am now cutting my pieces for the actual recipe cards. They measure 4 by 6 inches. Each consecutive layer is a 1/4 inch smaller than the one before it, just like with the card I made yesterday. I'm also using some rubber stamps, or I should say some polymer stamps from, who are these from? Paper Smooches. And I use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp those. Here you see me layering up the card pieces and getting everything ready to go. And later you'll see me actually use some of those scraps on your right hand side on my actual cards. Once I cut those out, I sponge the edges with some Distress ink and a Rusty Hinge. This is from Ranger Incorporated. It is a Tim Holtz product. I am now going to stamp a small glove onto the recipe card, as you saw. These recipe cards were fairly easy to put together since I cheated somewhat by using an old recipe book that I already had and cutting those down to size to fit my recipe cards. I do choose recipe cards that I know are going to fit on my 4 by 6 platform, or in this case they're 3.5 by 5.5 by the time you get to the third layer. And each recipe itself is different sized only because of the way that they were printed. This particular book was not printed on both sides, so the recipes themselves were only on one side of the paper, which made it very convenient for me as I was putting them together, as I knew that there was no printing on the opposite side that was going to show through. Now, these stamps are brand new, and they did take a little bit to get them inked up the way that I want them, and I had to stamp them off several times before I knew I would get the saturation that I wanted, and then I stamped those to the front of the cards. Of course, in between stampings, I always clean my stamps with baby wipes, and then I place them back on their storage sheets. Here I needed one more card, so I'm going ahead and getting all those layers together so that I can make that recipe card. This was a very fun project. It doesn't take long, and these recipes are absolutely yummy. Some I have tried, some I have copied off or taken pictures of to try at a later time. Now, I did decide to make a individualized sleeve, if you will, for my recipe cards to go in. And you will see that later on. Here you see me punching some tabs for my recipe cards. I am going to be using my good old-fashioned labeler. Mine's from Dynamo. It is just like the old-fashioned ones. It just basically embosses the letters onto tape, and then you cut those out. And I place them onto the tabs, and then of course the tabs go directly onto my recipe cards. It makes for a very nice finished product, and it shows that you took the time to hand make something yourself, which I highly recommend. So here you see me, I'm getting ready to make the actual envelopes. I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. You've all seen these boards previously, and they are wonderful to work with. The paper, I should have actually cut that just maybe 1/8 to 1/2 inch bigger than I did to accommodate the two bulky cards with all their layers, but in the end it did turn out. I'm going to get this envelope folded up, and I'm going to use my score tape to fasten those two flaps down. After I do that, I'm going to take the top and cut it off. Now what you're going to see is I'm going to use the same punch that I used on the cards for the tabs, and I'm going to cut that in the middle so that when you look at the envelope, whether you're looking at it from the front or the back, you basically have a finger hold to be able to get those recipe cards out of. I'm making sure that the recipe cards fit, and they do. It's still kind of a tight fit, but when you take those cards in and out a few times, it will loosen up over time. Here you see me making a belly band for that envelope. It was pretty much quick and easy. To personalize that belly band, I put the recipient's name on the bottom of the envelope. The belly band I just personalized by using scraps of paper that I had on my desk from making the actual recipe cards themselves. Put my recipe cards, turn those two squares on their side. One measures 2.5, the other one measures 2.25. And here you see the pictures of the finished products, and they came out super terrific. I'm very proud of how they came out. I hope that you will give this a try. Recipe cards are great gifts, and Stamp Happy, please always be a blessing to someone else. I appreciate you joining me today. Let me know what you think of the new overhead format and voiceovers. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Goodbye.